is broken. Everything's broken. Okie dokie. Thank you for joining me on The Treat Show. Gracefully as always, episode 58 this evening. So, my show got canceled yesterday. I'm sorry. I have a guest that I'm really excited to have on. I'll just tell you guys because he's coming on. But it's Brainstrap. But from Area 420, sorry. But he couldn't make it because we're actually going to record him outside in the fields of Area 420 to give us a little tour. So they had some problems with their fence. And I guess because of compliance or something, I don't know. So we're going to have Brainstrap on next Sunday or the following Sunday. I might be switching the show to Mondays, though. I'm not sure. How do you guys feel? How do you feel so far? The problem is I keep running into obstacles on the weekend because we really don't have a lot of days off. And I was like, maybe this would be cool. But I really want to know if you guys care, or if you're like, keep it on Sundays, JLo. Anyways, how's everybody else doing? I have some pretty sad news to report. I'm sure a lot of people have seen on Instagram. I feel bad because I didn't have time to post a picture or upload any videos tonight. But I found out that Dr. Cohen passed away a couple days ago, and he is the first gentleman that ever wrote my red card. And he wrote my red card for at least, I don't know, not exaggerating, the last 15 years. And supposedly his dad was one of the first doctors ever to write a medical marijuana card. And Cohen, he's just the nicest, kindest person ever. I'm going to find the video interview that I did with Adam Dunn and everybody with Cohen. He's just honestly phenomenal. And I just talked to him not that long ago. And he is 92 years old. 92 years old. I thought this guy was 70, maybe 65. Couldn't believe he was 92. But yeah, so I'm pretty bummed out about that. I gotta be honest. It is sad. He's a cool guy. Anyways, Cohen was one of the most legit doctors I've seen, at least in Colorado. He always has written my extended plan count, which was 24 for the longest time. And it sounds weird, but he would not write more than 24. And even when there was the 99s and stuff like that going down, he never did it. And I really respect him though, because he stayed in the legal world of writing these scripts forever in Colorado, and he's definitely been a staple in the industry. And yeah, it's just sad. It's just sad. Anyways, on a happier note, we are getting closer to the store and the grow. Getting the keys, it's been quite the process. Have you guys ever had a business deal, or I guess it doesn't even matter, a new job or something that you're just can't sleep at night? You're please let us begin. But yeah, it's taking time. It's coming up though. It's coming up. We want you guys to fly in from wherever you live and at least make a stop at the store. If you come to Denver, it'd be cool. It'd be cool. I would love to meet you guys, and I know Dark Horse would. So with this all being said, tonight, I'm not going to get crazy on the podcast. I was going to talk about calcium nitrate specifically, or talk about calcium nitrate, monopotassium phosphate, and a strong base that kind of covers everything on the show before Brainstrap. We do have a couple guests that I just don't know how to book everybody, because every time that something gets rearranged, then I don't know. So I don't even know. I don't know if you're going to see me next week, or if we're going to have a guest, or if we're not. But I was thinking about talking about kind of with nutrients specifically, not only what you should be looking for. I think that every grower kind of has an idea of NPK and maybe what these numbers mean even. when you read them on the bottle. But the truth is I want to like break down and simplify like what these things are actually like building like a resilience to, and making your plant more resilient to things that we talk about often, fusarium, HLVD, some of these things, and then to talk about like what they're actually good for in the plant, like monopotassium phosphate is good for bloom specifically. So like a lot of products like Moab, and I don't know, there is all kinds, like any any flowering product is going to be higher in monopotassium phosphate. And I kind of want to touch on like what's an ideal level of each of these products to look for, and why would you buy them concentrated or why would you not? And I think it would be kind of interesting. But you guys tell me if this wouldn't be interesting. I also want to shout out some people in the chat and thank you so much for showing up with my sloppy scheduling and being late tonight. But Boomers, Kim Painter, I miss you and it's so good to see you. Michelle, goodness, sorry, I was so excited. Michelle, I have to say that we love you so much. And I really look forward to seeing your name come up on the screen. It gives me something to anticipate. Same with you, Joffrey. Rusty Nails, Fall Dog, Canna Chef. I just can't get enough. James Miller, Gerhardt, Fal Bundy, Mr. Leal, Rosin Dogs. I was thinking about doing Friday nights at 420. Oh, just kidding. Keepers Guarded. It's so good to see all of you guys. How has your week been? Dr. Rory Gardner too. Sorry. We got the doctor in the house, but I'm sorry. Dr. Libby alone. You know what? I'm the worst at this. Stutter. So good to see you. Mike's not broken. Oh, I love it. Yeah, sorry. It's like I've been hearing everybody has just been like having a rough time out there. And maybe not absolutely everybody, but I just want to send love to everybody that feels like there's kind of like a ruckus in their lives, or if you're battling anything, like whether that's health, finances, like just want to send extra love and gratitude to the people that do support us in both ways. Tree, Dark Horse, us together, the podcast. I really stopped and paused the other day and was like, we are so blessed to still be in the industry in Colorado and like shifting into a new thing. Jason sometimes is like, he says things that I'm like, oh, this is very true. The other day he was like, Jay, do you ever feel like we're like getting ourselves into like purchasing a house that's on fire and everybody's running from the house and we're like, oh yeah, we want the house. Like we can make the house work. And I thought it was a really funny analogy because I was like, this is kind of like a little squirrely. I will not lie in the fact that I think we're very excited, but we're also like nervous, It's the first time in cannabis that only with like legislation and stuff going on, changes, is everybody saying that's not going to affect us, but I think it's just kind of like nerve-wracking. Guy, I got to stop saying that word seriously. I think it's nerve-wracking though to see what is the margins that everybody, I was really like, okay, I'm going into these dispensaries. This is why this is a thought. I'm going into these dispensaries the last couple weeks and I'm like, seeing how much weed is. So 710, everybody's familiar with 710, I feel like here, and they really like the quality. It's considered premium Percy flower. So I picked up a quarter of Skittles and Skittles in the hash, a gram of live rosin. And I can't even remember. It's just like Percy grade both, right? And it was $190 after tax. So I was like, damn, like I could seriously roll up this jar of weed in one backwood if I was really splurging. I was just like, this is too expensive. If I was smoking like backwoods all day and things like that. If you were smoking bowls, I could see where this could work out. But then I go to another dispensary and I'm looking for a specific strain. I don't even care how shitty or bad or good the weed is. I'm just like, I really want to smoke Golden Goat. And people, like a lot of people in my friend group hate Golden Goat as a strain. And I absolutely love it. I love the terpene of it. I love the wake and bake. I love everything with Golden Goat, even growing it. But there's not a lot of people that have it anymore. And so I go on this mission and I see all these places like advertising at 34% for their Golden Goat in overall testing, right, for potency. And Jason and I were talking about this is a strange thing to see multiple brands like on a shelf with the same strain, Golden Goat. There was like 3 different companies that they were selling of the Golden Goat. And I was like, this is great. They're considered like the best companies with this cut. And all of them are showing this range of 34% is their potency. And I was like, wow, that seems really high. Especially because I've grown Golden Goat for the last 10 years minimum, I guess like longer than that. And it is always consistently tested around 17 to 22%, I'd say on the high end. It has other cannabinoids that make it unique and terpene profiles that like are extra additional terpenes that you don't see from a lot of other strains. But as far as THC itself, this is not a strain that's necessarily up there. So it's strange to me because I get a really euphoric high, and I definitely feel high when I smoke this strain. And we were just talking about how this 34% batch, I like really didn't get high from. I really wasn't crazy about it. Like the flowers flavor was not what I was looking for exactly. And it wasn't that like bold Golden Goat that I've always remembered. And they all just said this high number. So anyways, we were talking about what if we took a completely different approach and really got people to look at strains again. Oh, this range. I'm sorry. So in Colorado, you can have a range. I believe it's 20%. It might be 17. So of course, everybody chooses the highest number, and it's supposed to be your average amongst your test samples. And the truth is everybody just goes for the highest number that they put on the piece of paper, period. And so that is 34% for most strains, I'd say. And if they come in very high, and from specific labs, you'll see these like variances that come from where you're testing and things like that. So these numbers, I know everybody in here has definitely mentioned this. I don't think there's that much validity in what we're looking at. I'm not saying it's not good to like test your product. It's obviously good. And it's good to see these numbers to gather data for yourself as a grower and cultivator, consumer. I can see the value. But I don't know how accurate this really is. I was like, if you're allowed to put a 20% variance on a product, why the hell even test it? Like, that is like ridiculous. 5, cool. I can understand. Like, almost like weighing weed. We can understand like a little heavy. I get it. This, I'm like 20%? Does that mean like it's just insane to me? So you guys tell me what you think though. Have you guys ever seen this? Do you see dispensaries that you're like, this weed actually gets me ripped and I feel like there's a value in this number? Or do you just get strains because you're like, I'm going to smoke this strain and I like this product? You guys tell me. What would make it a good experience if you were going into a store as a consumer of every kind? Would it feel good to have like a really connoisseur bud tender that was like suave and dressed really fancy? Or would it feel really good to have like a hippie bud tender that is like, let's do this? Just these little things. Just these little things that I've been wondering about that we really want to do this correctly. And we're trying to go back to, why do people not go to dispensaries anymore? And this price point, when I got the Golden Goat, I got a half ounce, 2 different companies. So yeah, 7 grams of each. And it was 120 compared to 710, which is like the bougie one. So I was like, okay, I still couldn't afford to smoke all the weed I smoke if I was buying weed at a dispensary at a half ounce a day at $120. I was like, geez, what would I do? But for you guys, like, going to somebody to buy weed, are you looking for a large amount? Is this like unrealistic, how much people smoke or don't smoke? I don't know if a lot of consumers of cannabis like smoke an ounce a week, or if this really is just like a quarter, could last you a month. What is going on? What is going on out there? How do you guys feel? Let's see. I think it's the strain, then the percent of THC and terp. If you can have the terp percentage. Yeah, see, Gerhard, I think the terpene percentage would be great to promote almost like over THC, obviously. But I mean, in a way that actually has more validity, though. I was like, how can we even train the consumers if we put accurate numbers on instead of using this variance that we're allowed? What if we actually just put the result on? But we risk, there is a chance that somebody would come in and see that our golden goat tests at 22% instead of 34%. And they're going to be like, why would I buy your guys' 22% when this place has 34%? And those are the things that I fear. Is I'm like, shit, if we're legit, is this going to backfire? Probably. How do you do it? What is the right way? Dispo weed sucks if you have the ability to grow your own. That's exactly, it's hard. We really want, because I will be growing this product really closely with just Jason and maybe one helper. It's not it's not going to be a lot of hands in the pot, and we're doing that on purpose to really make sure that this quality stays premium and that we want to smoke our weed and that we're proud of our product. Especially, well, I can't even say especially, like Jason and I value it both so much, and for both of our brands. And I just think that it would be really nice if everybody came in fully satisfied with what you've seen and it was a healthy, incredible product that you felt was homegrown, because there is all this attention to detail. We are going to finish the strains and finish the cure times, and there's just a lot of things that we're going to do properly. That this whole like harvesting early bullshit, just so not into it. We don't personally do that, but it's something that we compete with in the market aesthetically with cannabis. Is a lot of plants, and we have touched on this, but they get darker as they finish. Instead of like having the really white trichomes and looking snow-capped and just beautiful sparkles, right? This is the best way I can sum this up. Is it seems like you have to harvest at like week 6 or 7. Most of these companies are. I'm not going to say their names again, but most of them are. And then I see us where we're finishing these strains, and it'll almost look like organic weed sometimes. Not all the time, but like certain strains will not look super sexy. I got to be real about that. There's just a part about like OGs and certain strains that really don't have the bag appeal that some of the new stuff does. And I just feel like it has more flavor when we finish it. The potency is higher overall, legitimately. I just think most of these guys that are in finishing stuff is why when you go to the dispo and you're like, this weed looks like hay, or this weed doesn't get me high. I just can't even believe that there's so many people that wanted dispensaries, and then there's so many people that own them that don't smoke weed. It's just such an ass backwards concept to me. It's like, of course you guys don't care what weed you're buying. You're just like, who's got the shittiest, no, the best price point. And I think there's a fine line with that. I think it's really good to pay for weed. I try to value our growers, myself, our companies, all these things for what they really are. It does cost a lot of money to grow weed. It doesn't matter that we can give it to people if you have weed, if it just costs all this to grow it. And our overhead is pretty steep here in Colorado with testing. I think a lot of the other states can relate to us that are getting tested and going through all this process. It just really takes away any profit margins, I would say, at this point in a competitive market. Yeah. I was just thinking about all these things because this week I have noticed that there is so many licenses going out of business in Colorado, and it's the first time that you can get a license for less than a couple $1,000,000, and nobody wants them though. Everybody's like fleeing and running from the state into every other state, New York, all these other places that are supposed to have these pop-in markets. Florida, I know, is always, or in the last couple of years, really been making moves, but I find it really intriguing to see how this is all going to play out. I'm like, what is going to happen when nobody knows where to buy weed again because all the dispensaries went out of business for selling shitty weed and having terrible customer service or illegitimate shit? I don't know. I think it is filtering out some of the things that you didn't want to see, though. It's strange because we just talked about Ridiculous the last episode, which is awesome, and I'm so grateful for those that listened. But it's strange that I think now, looking back on that, is you really shouldn't have any facility that can produce that much flower and control margins in a market so much. And on Dark Horse's podcast recently, they were talking about I can't remember, is it MedMan? I think he said MedMan, that has over $400 million into cannabis, and they were going out of business. And it's strange to me to think about this, is they're a multiple state location, brand, I guess. And I guess they have just a shit ton of facilities, like grows, stores, everything. Maybe it was just stores. Honestly, I don't know. But I was like, any investor that went through it, or multiple investors, and puddled this money together to invest $400 million into anything, I was like, what an idiot. Like, I was just thinking, if you had these types of capital opportunities, you would invest into like so many different businesses. I think you wouldn't just put all of your eggs in cannabis or anything like that. But I was also thinking about that type of level of loss. Like when they're going, oh my gosh, this word, I am so sorry. I'm trying to break the habit and I need like a rubber band. I just noticed it so much tonight. I really apologize. But I think if they can take a loss like that, whether it's for tax write-offs or whatever those guys are up to, I was just like, what an insane thing that somebody came together and either like dirty hustled this, like some consultant or growers or business planners, partners that probably didn't have a lot going for them and were like, how can we get these investors to just give us all of it? Or I was just trying to think of any scenario, including in this business, is I feel like a ride or die. I was like, I would never personally get something too big. And it's not because you couldn't manage it necessarily. It's that it's just expensive. Sometimes it's cheaper. But there's that fine line that we all kind of shoot for, I think, commercially or even in your home, is no matter your scale, is you want it to be where if the market shifts and sways, that we can always like grow with passion, that they would still want to produce this quality product, even if you have to drop your prices sometimes to be competitive and it stings. Or I don't know, is that's the part where I feel like Jason and I see where we can't give up in this industry and you can't walk away. It's just a weird thing that I've been noticing. And I see some other growers and breeders the same. Is Archive seems like he's been in it forever. DNA, all these guys that just kind of refuse to like leave no matter how fierce or trisome it gets. And I think it is something that is now defining what I think is a real cultivator or quality product that we should find ways to support. Sorry for saying that in the longest way possible, but I think I'm starting to really appreciate the people that are either diving deeper into this and they really don't, it's not that you don't care about profit margins. I think that's very important when operating any business. But I also think that if you face the fact that maybe we're not going to be all millionaires and balling out of control and I don't even know, strippers and cocaine every day, is I think that this could create a good life for all of us. And then the more that people consume good, like healthy grown product that was grown by people that were actually happy or really love doing this for a living, I think it will always outshine these guys that may have more money, but they're almost like the first I see going out of business. I've even worked for some of the companies that went out of business in the last couple of years in Colorado that were massive chains, and they were doing extended plant counts, as far as you could go into a dispensary if you had an extended plant count on your medical card and you could go get a pound and a quarter from a bud tender. And I remember selling lots of pounds to people legally. And, you know, those places all went out of business first. And I think it's very intriguing to me that cannabis still is this very tight group that no matter how much they want to make it advanced and just big ag kind of farming and to let go of the quality and that weed is weed kind of concept, is we keep having this kind of fight back where it's like, no, that doesn't work. People don't want shitty weed. I don't know. What do you guys think? Oh, grow your own. That's all what it comes back to. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm going to go through these. I can't smoke blunts anymore. Just volcano bags and water pipes. James Miller, thank you so much for saying this. This leads me to something I've really been thinking about. Tell me if you guys can relate to this. So, I've had a pretty unhealthy lifestyle for the last at least 7 years. Maybe I go through spurts. I think I go through spurts. For a good chunk of time, I felt like a really disciplined person. Okay, I didn't really curse. I didn't eat a lot of meat. I feel like I didn't smoke. I smoked blunts. Okay, I'll be honest. It's always been kind of a thing. But everything else, no cigarettes, no like shenanigans, don't tell anybody, quit all the bads. And it was so good. And I felt so good. I was like running crazy things that people would never correlate with me. And I've noticed like the last 5 years, especially, I've gotten this decline. And I'm like, I don't want to be a person that smokes cannabis and is like not working out or valuing my health. And my blunt is such a bad representation. I know people think that you can't smoke quality weed through a blunt. You are wrong. If you only smoke blunts, you definitely know good weed when you smoke it. And I would say a blunt really pops off good weed, because if it's not good weed, you definitely won't taste it in a blunt. But if it is, it's just phenomenal. But I think that it's not healthy. And I was like, this is not healthy. These little things are not healthy. And I was trying to think of a goal for the next couple weeks of if I could cut back on smoking so much weed. I think I've got my tolerance out of control for so long now. It's like a habit for me that I was like, even loving weed, I need to get to the point where the volcano bag was one of my favorite things ever, like 10 years ago. And I think it is phenomenal that you are doing this, because not only is it so much healthier for you, but the flavor, the chill of it, there's nothing like passing a bag in a room. Anybody that has not smoked with the volcano, you really got to test it out. And if you're not into smoking weed, I feel like this is something that you could really be into. I don't know, kind of pricey, or it was. I think it's worth it. But yeah, I'm glad that you said that. And the water pipes, it's just the same. I was like, how could I transition? This is going to be hard for me. I was like, how could I transition back to glass and back to a volcano? Because I think it would just be better for my overall health. It's strange. It's strange when you get to that point in your life and you're like, dang it, the thousands of blunts. I think it's more than that I've consumed. I wonder how I would sound. I don't even know what I would sound like. Let's see. Rusty Nails, this looks like a good one. What I found is that you cannot cross ChemDog with anything and get a better ChemDog. Just stop, but it will improve everything it touches, so do that. That's a really cool thing that you have just pointed out, Rusty Nails, is I think that some people have gotten so obsessed with strains that are old school, incredible cuts in genetics, and they do want to use them in the most pure ways to like complement another strain and whatnot. But I also think we're going too far with even like the diesels and things, where I was just like, everybody stop. Like let's honestly preserve these strains together by not breeding these things so often. But then maybe that's regressive of me, because these strains are building resilience against things. And I don't know. It's like it's like a gamble to me. I just think some of this shit, I wish we could cool it on. I think Durban, Poison, Golden Goat, all these strains I used to not be a big fan of. When they were actually popular strains, I did not like them. I would only smoke OG Kush for the longest time. Like Kosher, Ghost. It wasn't like just OG Kush, but Larry OG, all those strains. That was the only shit I would smoke forever. But in the last couple of years, I've come a long way, and I've really grown fond of all of this stuff that I just listed off. And now I just made it sound so easy to get, but I really had to go on a mission for this. And there is a lot of dispensaries still in Denver. And I really had to still go on a mission for the Golden Go. And it's a really nice dispensary. This company I will shout out right now is Oasis in Denver. They have everybody. So they carry they carry everybody. That's the truth. They have cheap stuff. They have medium stuff. They have great stuff. And their price point, like I said, is pretty fair. I think Golden Goat was on their bottom shelf or middle. No, is their middle shelf because of the 30 thing that we were talking about. And that was 120, yeah, for a half ounce. I think that was even after tax. Don't quote me. But I don't think that's that bad. But the weed, and it's not their weed. This is why I say this, and I won't say whose it is the weed was just not great. It's marketed well, and I think it looks nice, but it again goes back to like that moisture content and the way it actually burns and tastes and feels. I just am picky. I think I'm just getting picky like everybody else, and I just want my shit to stay lit. Sorry. I just want where I could like smoke something when I do roll up something. They're really good weed. I feel like I can smoke a blunt for 45 minutes without it going out, without any problems. It's burning with white ash. Tastes phenomenal. Like, that is good, successful weed to me. When something burns in like 15 minutes and you can barely taste it and you're almost getting Scooby snacks in your mouth. It's just, oh, let's see. Rasta Jeff rocks the Golden Goat. Thank you, Chad Westport. That is awesome. I actually got the cut back a couple months ago, and it has HLVD. And so I'm fixing it. I want her to be fixed faster, but she's getting there. She's getting there. I've had this strain before, and somebody got into my garden in the middle of the night and took her, and I thought it was actually funny because it's one of the very few strains that Dank by Pink's owner gave me the cut to fix when he got it. And I went through like a year and a half probably of fixing this Golden Goat, and then somebody got in and took her, and now this is so many years later, she circled back, and I'm pretty excited, but it's just funny to me that she's sick again. I keep having these guys that message me sometimes. I guess I've had two and it still pisses me off though, so I'm going to say this, is I've had two people that I sold genetics to, and a good variety, like at least more than 6 or 7 strains, maybe 10 or 12. I don't know. Significant amount is I gave them a cut, and the one that I gave them, ironically enough, they said tested. These are different. Sorry, this is not the same strain, but they said months later that I gave them HLVD. They were like, your strain has HLVD. And there's something that like really pisses me off about people that grow in diseases or bugs or whatever the hell is going on, is I can't remember a point in time that I've ever like searched for genetics and been like, I need these clean genetics. Everybody wants clean genetics. No shit. Like, of course. But I personally taken a lot of sick shit all the time. And I guess maybe people know that. So I've just never asked. I've never cared. If I'm like, I'm going to treat this plant no matter what, it's going to go in a quarantined area. I'm going to treat it with these treatments as a preventative or as I feel like as a grower, I'm like, this is going to be handled this way. And I think it's interesting because these people message me. And like I said, months later, and they're like, this strain has HLVD. And I'm like, do you realize that once again, HLVD is something that is dormant in a plant? I don't say this to them, but this is what I want to say. It's dormant in the plant all the time. This is something that I've heard come up though on other podcasts and other scientists, on our show, on Dark Horse's show, on Adam Dunn's show, multiple times, where this is dormant in the plant at all times. Like, at all times. So I think it's interesting because not only do we work directly with a lab that we get our shit excessively tested and because we're helping the lab and ourselves with as much data as possible. And so we do specific parts of the plant. We do weekly testing, all of these different things that I have not met a lot of other people that do this and that have like 10 years of experience fixing them with this. It's just strange to me. So they like message me this trying to be like, rah, and your shit sucks. And I just think it's so funny that I'm like, this could come from anybody's point of distressing a plant. Like this could flare at any given time because your climate changed just a night, like one night. Like you left an exhaust fan on and it's cold outside and you got PM or you got root aphids and something popped off or you got fungus gnats popping off or there's just so many things that go into that I just want you guys to know because I was like, this is like another fad in weed that people are going to start talking about these things, thinking that they know what they're talking about. When I'm like, weed is not to pick on each other. Let's fucking start there, okay? It's not like, hey, I support you, but I don't. And I think you're good at something, but I don't. It's this like weird bullshit that I see in the industry. I'm really getting not even depleted of. I think it'll always be there, but I want to address more properly. This is probably not it. On the fact that I think we need to learn how to play nicer and talk about these things as real. These things shouldn't determine how somebody, that's what people have shaped now, is they've tried to make or break growers and breeders by determining your value or credibility if you've ever gotten spider mites or root aphids or powdered mildew or HLVD. I can tell you that I've worked at all of these great facilities and more than 200, and they have all tested positive for HLVD and Fusarium. And some are extreme levels, some are mild levels, whatever. But majority of the time, majority of specific genetics or old genetics and things that are exposed to insects will have these problems. And we resolve it. It takes time. It takes a process. We talk about it. And I think it's something that we should look at like that. It's not something that is like, oh, your shit is. There's just so many things that a garden keeps you on your toes because the better gardener you are, to me, the best growers and breeders are people that know how to resolve issues that happen in your garden. It's not necessarily keeping everything perfect. Obviously, in our ideal world, we all want that. But I'm just saying, I see a lot of breeders on the flip side that have hidden. They'll be so Instagram famous. This is my favorite, is they'll be so Instagram famous and just so cocky and just little assholes to everybody saying like their stuff is cream of the crop. And they'll show like clean testing. They'll show all kinds of shit. And then you'll see their actual rooms or their actual facilities or their actual breeding projects and everything is just fucked. Half of it's dead. All of it's infested with God knows what. And it's funny to me because we would never go out and tell somebody, oh, we just walked this blah, blah, blah. Like, look at this shit. Or we would never post it. Or it's strange to me. But then these guys that say that they support you will message you, be like, hey, just so you know, if I didn't tell you this, you wouldn't know this, and I'm just trying to help. And it's like, you know what? Go help yourself by fucking right the fuck off. Sorry, guys. It's not directed at anybody in watching my show or our show because you guys are the shit. But I've seen some haters lately just talking shit, and I was just like, this gets so weird. I was even thinking about little things and rumors and gossip in the industry with everybody's names and everybody's brands. I know Adam and them were saying I was an alcoholic for a while. And I just thought it was so funny. Not only, like, did I think it was hilarious that people can, like, say, just, like, make up shit out of just thin air. I was like, when the fuck did you even, like, or where... Like, how could you even get this context? I remember being in Vegas and and we had a house party with no alcohol. I'm like, dude, you guys would be the shittiest friends ever to hang out if I was an alcoholic. But I think when I see, like, everybody else, though, like, doing their drugs of choice or doing, like, whatever their cups of teas are, is I think it's funny to me that everybody does this, and especially in cannabis. It's not just like that crew. It's amongst everybody. I've heard some of the meanest nicknames. Everybody knows that Dark Horse and other people, like everybody's gone through this like shit. And I was just like, what is this? Like, do people think that it makes your weed grow better if you like hate on somebody else's life? You're just like, you fucking suck. So, look at my flower. You know? I just think it's a strange thing that I was like, how do we break this cycle of just maybe that's what's happening. Maybe all these places going out of business or the market shifting and really producing quality is going to flush out some of these like negative vibrations or negative stuff and keep it replenished to just respecting one another, really seeing the value in like the pioneership in all of these people and just how much everybody genuinely does care about their journey and has cared about this plant. And I really hope that the next year brings out the best in all of us and everybody on the show too. Is I just I feel like we need to come together as a real clean slate. It's hard to say, but I see Swerve posting lately on Instagram, and I just see these people defending ourselves, defending our personalities, or I don't even know what the fuck we're defending, but something, and I'm just like, this is sad. This is sad that the biggest push that all of us had was growing the best weed and producing, like breeding the best genetics that we possibly could, and just the best quality. But there is also another shift that I've seen with this quote unquote marketing that we're all into nowadays. And I think it's interesting to me now that everybody thinks that Connoisseur brand is having a really fancy box and display. I've always wanted that. I've always, that's why treat yourself was always going to be a high-end line, but it wasn't to sell somebody on a box or the aesthetics of something or to see the amount of followers or this false number, I think, of value or this false value. I hate to say, but those things don't necessarily produce value. They aesthetically produce some things, yes, but I'm not sure if it extends the value of the weed. Maybe if it's a more sealed jar, if it's in dark places and hidden, I don't know. Maybe, but I don't know how much. So when I look at how much everybody's chasing these, at least in cannabis, is these big ideas of fame or the fanciest box on the block is I'm like, usually the people that put the most money into advertising and marketing, like as far as commercials and things, are some of the worst companies and establishments to work with. Like you see a lot of insurance companies, I'll use it as an example. It's Progressive, has a shit ton of commercials. One of the worst insurance companies to actually have, an accident with or something like that. And it really, I think, plays through to so many things where maybe back in the day, Louis Vuitton, Gucci, all those things set an example of what quality really meant in a high-end connoisseur product. But now this is all changed. I think production has changed. I think accessibility to just Alibaba and so many things that everybody's like, just put it in a fancy box and it makes it nice. And it's like, no, dude, the box was supposed to represent the time that was put into the weed or the hash or edibles, whatever you're producing. Is I feel like you wanted to produce and present something accurate to the quality that it really was within. I thought that was the value in having a nice package. It's just to represent that you care, and this is how much you care, and you'll put this further expense into something and take care of it more throughout its whole life process from start to finish. Now I just see where that's all getting abused, I think. And Instagram and social media, I have just such mixed feelings because I'm so grateful for our connections and you guys are my fam. And then I see where there's all this false everything online that I'm like, is this good? Is this really what like a successful business is now? Is if you have a shit ton of followers is like all these things that are just stupid to me. I've tried to understand, but I think it's strange, the place that we're leaping into. Jason and I were talking about the value in my show is so small compared to all these other guys. And it's weird because I feel so much closer to all of you guys. Is I actually look forward to seeing everybody's Instagram pages themselves and seeing about your guys' lives, or when somebody puts a comment, or watching Joffrey and Michelle pop up on the other shows, or that you guys found me through those shows. And there's just so many of you that have definitely changed my life and given me this drive to want to keep going. And I think add this pureness, or this goodness that I hope keeps bleeding through to everybody else. I hope it keeps on coming. But I really hope for our worlds is I hope that we could transition into like what value really is again, all the way around. Respecting each other, respecting our products, our plants, our mediums. I'd really like to figure out how we can sterilize a medium, no matter what the medium is that you're using. And I know people are laughing to be like sterilized soil or something like that, but for reals I wonder if there is something that we could work together and come up with multiple ways to sterilize different mediums and show different processes as far as checking your EC when we're doing this, your pH. Does this appeal to you guys? I just have a lot of ideas for the upcoming shows. Okay, on this rant and tangent that I want to hear what you guys have to say. Remind me later. Gosh, computer's trying to update at the same time. James Miller got a Bruce Banner cross with ChemDog and Flower now. That's super cool. I feel like that will probably stack really, really nice. I'm not sure what Bruce you have, if you have the number 3 or the number 5. They both stack really nice, but differently. And you should let us know, because I almost feel like the BB5 with the chem would be insane as far as the size of the colas. And that chem would probably complement the cushy side more in the BB5 versus the 3. But Jason would probably disagree with me completely. I don't know. Calcium nitrate, Zysophone. What do you know about that calcium nitrate? I'm super excited to see your name. That is a sweet name. Let's see. No, Chem. Chem, I remember in 2011, 2012, I had all the chems. I just got Chem back recently. She's another sick one. I'll be real about it, but it's the Chem 4, and I was excited. But it'll probably take a couple months to fix her. I remember the ChemDog, the Chem 91, and the Chem 4. I think there was one more. Which one am I missing? Was there a Chem 6? What was it? I don't know. I gotta remember. No other Monday shows besides Kill Tony. Oh, Keeper's Garden. Cheers to you. Happy Memorial Day. Sorry about messing that all up. The Doctor. Happy Memorial Day to you. Stutter. I hope you're having an awesome week. I see I missed nothing. I know, Rusty Nails. Don't be too hard on me, okay? Okay? We're doing yard work. Just doing all this. Yep. It's the way I get to see my niece and I learn so. Aw. Thanks, boomers. I miss your face. Well, I'm sorry that my show sucked tonight. I feel like Brainstrap, I'm just really excited for. I really didn't plan anything besides him coming on. Be blunt. Don't want to be a lazy stoner. That's exactly it. Southern VT grown. Thank you. Rory. Buzz Swan. Oh. Fal Bundy. Yeah, the turkey bag, it's so loud. It is so loud. Sometimes I'll have my turkey bag and we'll be watching a movie and Jason will be like, seriously, dude? You guys know what I'm talking about. And you'll even think you're being discreet and it's just more loud when you try to be quiet. Assholes. Gosh, ash people are a pain in the ass too. I I really did run multiple facilities that were for extraction only, and it was for Harmony extracts. And sorry, I have my hair is tickling me, and I have been getting spiders and bugs on me lately, so now I'm all paranoid. Sorry, but Harmony extracts, we did all of our shit was for hash, and I think it is crazy to me how much a hash person is just anti-sulfur. Like, I'm sorry, guys, but sulfur is just so amazing for your plants, and there is definitely ways to use it. If you're getting sulfur in your finished product, period, you are doing so much shit wrong. Like, just so much shit wrong. There's just so many layers. So the hash guys that fear this, come on, my squad, we got to talk about it. We got to talk about it. If you use these products properly, you should not be having a ruckus. But there's plenty of things. There's plenty of things that hash guys have problems with. But sulfur is definitely one that it's just rough. James Miller, my volcano bags are my size, 5'10". It's hilarious. They are huge. I just think it's not classy as a woman to also have like a huge bag, but then it's also not classy to have a huge blunt either. So who knows? Portable vapes are fine, but cleaning is a bitch. Yes, Gerhardt. I feel the hash I got into, you know who has really good hash carts in Colorado is DabLogic. I will say DabLogic is my favorite for hash pens. Yeah. But the high is so different. You guys tell me if I'm wrong. Is the high is different if you smoke hash all the different ways. But I think in the pen specifically, it just hits you so hard afterwards. I think it's like a creeping high. Like 10 minutes later, 15 minutes later, you're like, holy shit. Or you just like want to pass out. I feel like you get more of that body effect when I smoke hash through a pen than if I'm smoking flower. You guys tell me if I'm wrong. Or if I smoke hash like on an e-nail or a Carta or whatever. Puffco, whatever you're into, yeah. What's up, folks? Hi, John. You can do it, roll a fake blunt when you do this volcano thingy. That's a good idea, Boom. That's a really good idea. Damien, no one should be smoking cigs or cannabis anymore. We got the life-saving tech already. See, Damien, that is the truth. I'm like, there is a part of me that I think I will probably always smoke weed. I think it's always going to be a part of my life. But I also am like, I want to be health conscious. It's not good. It's not good to be hard on our bodies. I've definitely been hard on mine through life. I think I could have made a little bit better turns for sure. But I also am like, it's never too late. It's never too late, guys. We can work together to do this. And I think if this is something that we can make, or you guys could just be a part of my journey with, I'm really going to try to take it back a notch. I'm going to try smoking more joints. I'm probably going to have to wean off like a weakling, but yeah, we'll get there. We'll get there. I grew a random freebie from Daga and ended up finding the breeder and buying some packs direct. Greenway Solutions, Flashback 68. Get some. That sounds fucking cool. Dirty Taxi from Top Dog is my other mom. That's awesome, Rusty Nails. Yeah, we just saw JJ at, well, I guess it's been like a month or so, maybe a little bit longer. I'm so bad with this sometimes. But JJ had some beautiful weed. He had the Dirty Taxi out in flower, I believe, and Sour Diesel, but so pretty. So pretty. His stuff, I love JJ's stuff. I think he's got some great gear. Obviously, for especially like Dirty Taxi or these diesels or the chems, as you guys all know, is JJ really is like, he's got the best of the best. Rory Gardner, Golden Goat is loved in Colorado more than other areas. I don't think anybody really likes Golden Goat here. I'm gonna be honest with you, Rory. I don't think people like that strain, give a shit about that strain here, except for me. And it probably was that I was just like wake and baking it. And you know, for most of us, the first time that you get high in the day, or the earlier, I will say, I think it affects you the most out of any other time you're gonna smoke that day. You guys tell me if I'm wrong. But Golden Goat just used to be like my go-to. I would either go to a lake and write, or I wanted to paint, or I wanted to go running. Like, it's a real thing where I was just like, woo, I just feel so good. I don't know. God, I know I smoke cigs. Yeah, we gotta try together, Boom. I just feel like we gotta find better cool stuff. They say it's always good to treat yourself, when you're quitting something. And I strongly believe in that, is we find a really awesome replacement. Not just like a carrot, not just like celery. Things like a pedicure. Cool stuff. Love for the plant. Is so good to see you. I have missed you as well. Cheers, everyone. I've been working in the garden and just came up for a dab. That's what I like to hear. What are you smoking on? Love for the plant? Kelly, I love that we get to be picky about what and how we smoke. I strive for the cleanest, settle for just not coughing. That's what's up, Kelly. That is classy. I love it. That is the truth, though. That is what the dispensaries do offer. That is the bonus, I would say, is that you can go in, you can get gummies and brownies and mints and lollipops and flour and hash and so much other stuff. And I think it is cool. It's weird now to look back and realize that what we were spoiled with was being the first date. And I know that just sounds so stupid. It really does. But the truth is, we just saw so many people from everywhere, and the sales were just insane. I think that's what it was. The crowds were insane. The loudness was insane. The transactions, I remember my average transactions were $2,000 to $3,000 at the dispensary I was working at. And seriously, like, that is a lot. That's before they changed the laws in Colorado, where you could buy 56 grams of hash as a normal person, and you could buy like hundreds of edibles. And these people were just flying in and buying a shit ton of shit. And I never would have realized how fortunate we actually were to be this isolated spot that people were coming to buy weed. Now when I see all these other states legalizing all these years later, and now that it's everywhere and the value that weed has now become because it's everywhere, I'm just like, well, fuck. Why didn't we plan? What are we doing? What did we do? We did so much stuff wrong. There's a part that we just did. Colorado should have, I don't know. We should have did it different. So you guys should take this as an example, even though I don't even think that information would help that much now, because it's already gotten so far. You guys already talking about this rescheduling and all this other stuff. Why not? There's lots of reasons. Rusty Nails. Oh, you guys are talking. Let me not invade your conversation. Michelle, I've never been to a real dispensary. They are MIA where I'm at. Oh, really, Michelle? It's really cool to hear you say that. We'll send you a video. Well, we'll give you guys a tour on the show, too, of when the dispensary officially opens. Super exciting. But, so you could kind of get a feel. I know it's not the same, Michelle. I know it's not. But I think I'm glad that you said that, because it's weird. I got asked to leave a grow job one time to go open retail stores and train the lady staff on growing and give these people ideas on marketing and stuff. It was like super cool job, honestly. And I worked with them for a long time, back and forth. But I think this store is a big chain. I'll just say it's Lightshade in Colorado. That still probably doesn't mean absolutely anything to anybody, but they were a really big chain. They owned some other companies, and there was just a lot going on. And so they had everything, and it really gave me the chance to see. I guess I had always worked with stores. I don't know. It's hard to say, Michelle. As I feel like I wish I hadn't seen any dispensaries sometimes. Because you're really not missing too much. They're all pretty similar. I'm going to be honest about that. Is maybe the weed is different, yes. But the dispensaries themselves, nice ones, shitty ones, I don't know. They all have a green cross. They all have some shitty green building here. And if they're not like that, then they all have like barn-sided walls. I don't know what that's about either in Colorado. But it is cool, this election. Like we're saying, that part is cool. But I'll give you a virtual tour, and you tell me what you think. You could even be like, you know what, Jay, you should do this. You guys should do this, because your store, it'd be cooler to have clear slate eyes on something. But I hope you do get to go to a dispensary one day, Michelle, and I hope it's ours. I hope that you just take a trip out here with your hubby and you just come on down to the store. Yep. Canna Chef Chris. Maybe I'll reverse the 91 and hit the Bloomington headband with her. Should provide me with some fire beans for a while. Yeah, that would be super sick. The 91's are really nice. I like the 91 the best, I think, even over the Chem 4. The Chem 4 always had those like amber terps, and like when we're talking about hash and stuff, it was good for that. But the 91 just got you so ripped. You're just like, I can't even open my eyes. And that flavor just is what it is. Damien, SIGs were finished with vaping after 2 years now. It's been a year and no Nick. Oh, Damien, thanks for the encouragement, and I'm so freaking proud of you. Me and Boomers are going to be there. Kim Painter and I, we're getting it. Chameleon Glass ash catcher pipes are legit. No Scooby snacks. Thank you, Rusty Nails. That is beautiful to know as well. Need to get in on that. Transplanting some TK91. Yes. Kelly, I'm not growing right now as I am battling spider mites and earwigs in my backyard. Oh my gosh. Kelly, earwigs, such a nightmare. Absolutely one of the worst I've ever dealt with, I will say, for reals, in my actual garden beds, and they just annihilated all my plants. But what I would do if I was you is there's a couple different treatments that you could do. I know you're probably not going to be crazy about Pyganic, but if you do Pyganic at the end of the day, when you have nothing flying around, no bees, no butterflies, anything like that, no pollinators, right, is you can hit the Pyganic and it won't hurt anything after this, is you could do a drench and it will kill them. And that's nice. But you're probably not crazy about that, so I probably wouldn't do that. But Azamax I would use over Neem for your situation with the spider mites. Is it really works where you can spray them close together with the Azamax. I only use 29 mils per gallon, and everybody makes fun of me because it's not a full ounce. But it's fragile, I think. But same thing is you spray it obviously when the sun's not out. I would do late in the day, so again, it's not messing with anything. But it's a little hard to isolate where this could potentially affect other things. But it kills it's going to kill the spider mites. And you can do the treatments actually 6 days within each other, which is nice. And really probably kill both of those bad boys at the same time. You might have to spray it for the spider mites like 3 or 4 times, depending on how you're feeling with them, how bad their little family's going. Sorry that you're going through that, though. It's so annoying. I'm trying to think of something else. Diatomaceous earth is really good for the earwigs. I know it's not like that awesome if you have rain and stuff going on, or you're trying to water your beds or whatever you're working with, but the diatomaceous earth is really nice during the day to just sprinkle on them. So I think that the combo package of all those things is what I really had to do to kill my earwigs. I tried a lot of different products, and they're pretty resilient. Little a-holes. Not a fan. Spider mites too is, you could use other products. Nobody would like what I have to suggest, but because it's outside, it's hard to use some of these other things. Where the Pyganic degrades really, really fast. The sun would eliminate it within the next day, honestly, outside. But it's really good for just an on-contact killer of a lot of things. Noel Delgado. Sorry. Jay, is your consultation for full facilities for indoor to ask include greenhouse too? Yeah, Noel. Thank you so much. I definitely can help you with your greenhouse. I do less greenhouses, I'll be honest with you, but I have done multiple greenhouses. And I think that greenhouses are interesting depending on where you live, but they just get expensive to me. I'll be honest with you. It's usually I just push my customers in a different direction. I know that means absolutely nothing to you right now, but yes, I can help you with your greenhouse. But I think that they actually are harder I think. I don't think they get enough attention for the things that you have to really battle in a greenhouse compared to inside. Inside makes certain things harder though that are more beneficial in a greenhouse. I will say that. It's just like the water walls and some of these other things. Like I've had like mice infestations in greenhouses and in the plants and baby, just sad, just different. Damien, that's awesome. Congrats, Kim Painter. Kelly. I guilty buy lots of bangers and bowls and have an alcohol jar they soak in until I'm ready to clean everything. Yes. I think when I was, this is a little while ago, like 10 plus years ago, I used to smoke only glass. Maybe not only glass, but pretty much. And I always had like glass tips if I wasn't using that, or I really liked Sherlock's for some reason. That was my jam. And I kept getting arrested. I was just so young and stupid, but I wasn't really, I thought, is I'd just be getting high in the mountains, and for some reason the cops were just never down for it. And they just always take your shit. And I remember like the last time I had a pipe that I had replaced from them taking already, and I had replaced it because it was my favorite. I called it Mufasa Tata. It was like a lion's face on a Sherlock. It was sick. It was like $550. I will always remember. And I had to do it twice. And they took it twice. And after that, I swear that's when I started smoking blunts. I was just like, dude, damn it. Like, no residuals. Allegedly, I was doing this. There's no proof, I guess. Fal Bundy. Respect, Grumpy. Oh, Fal Bundy, you're just so nice. I don't know what to do without you. Yeah, I just keep cannabis around in my fungus gnat nursery. Yeah, that's exactly. I feel like fungus gnats. That's what I want to write these people, like I was saying, that were like talking shit. I want to be like, dude, let me come look at your fucking grow. Let me come look at your plants, because I guarantee you got like shit going on, and I can tell you exactly why you have HLVD or whatever. And it's like, but I don't want to be the asshole, right? You're just the asshole. Just kidding. It's childish, but that's how I feel. Oh, everybody runs into like fungus gnats and thrips. I think that's probably the most common thing. And maybe some people don't know what a thrip is or what a fungus gnat is necessarily, but I think that those are probably the most two common things that even in houseplants or what, you go into a restaurant, you're just like, dude, let me spray your freaking fruit bowl. I'm just kidding. But it makes you definitely not want to eat the fruit. You're like, what? I remember when I was telling you guys a shitty lettuce story about having aphids on it, and I remembered after I watched this show one time that it wasn't lettuce. It was broccoli. They were coming out of the broccoli in the boiling pan, and it was just the most disturbing like moment. I had to go save the aphids outside instead of boiling them, but it was just disgusting. I was like, this broccoli is from Whole Foods, okay? Like, sterilization. But no, I think that all of us battle with shit. You wish you didn't. I saw one of the plants that I did get recently is I got a whole bunch of new genetics that I was all stoked about, and most of them did come with shit. And I think that one specifically had like the spider mites that they've had for, you can tell, like a long time, because it has a really nice crisp fade where it almost looks bleached on the leaves, because the spider mites have like really they damage the leaf so much. I'll put pictures up so we can talk about spider mites. When finger pointing back at you for looking right back at them. Yes. I'll do and go, Dan. Yes, for real. If people had each other's backs more than stabbing folks in the back, we would all get further in life. That's the truth. I know this sounds bad. It makes me sound negative or like the asshole, but the truth is I'm just like, there's no benefit that comes from all this shit. Like, if you don't like somebody, that's the truth, is you should just accept that, I guess, or really give them a fair shot. But I think that you probably already are coming to this situation with negative judgment or something. So like, to feed into this stuff, you already probably have like a negative connotation of a person, versus if you actually like any one of these people. I mean, there's lots of names that I'm missing out on, but I think if you like and support anybody in life, is you really should have their best interest. I think anybody I try to fuck with is, I want them to be successful with me. And I think there's a healthy competitive drive that I think is good for entrepreneurs or business owners and everybody to have to some degree. But then I also think that doesn't, we've like confused that in this like culture, I think, with being like malicious or condescending or just making these stupid ass assumptions. Like I see people judge people with the way that they carry themselves when they're trying to explain something on multiple interviews, things that people I've interviewed in the past on other podcasts and things, or watching other people interview people, is sometimes they'll actually try to make them feel incompetent or just embarrassed or something. And I see people do it in normal interactions in a grow or something, or I think that's why it upset me when those people reach out like that. Is it's not like they're saying this in a helpful or nice way, or it's just like this really petty thing where I'm just like, oh dude, like that's the best, like that's what you have to say today. You just woke up fucking 6 months later and you're like, oh, you gave me this. It's like fucking cool. Like I think it's a weird thing versus if we all switched like our perceptions in a way to where maybe it helps us evolve when somebody just makes up shit to make you look bad or something, or starts rumors, or finds like your vulnerable moments. Maybe people are just pieces of shit that like try to find people's things, or I don't know. I work with a whole bunch of dirty hustlers in my whole life, and so they've done all this shit. But I think that the weird part is you start being grateful though, because you're just, I don't know, you're just like, maybe if we put more positive energy and like love and accepting these people and even forgiving people. Like sometimes we're just young and you genuinely make mistakes, or you say things that you don't mean, and sometimes I just think that people are too stubborn to actually apologize, or they just make up this like outlandish shit and they're like, yeah, we're gonna see how many people catch on. And it's like the people that caught on are just people that already didn't like me or didn't like, and it's just like, well, fucking cool. I can give you plenty of shit to like actually talk shit about me. But it's like, why? Like, why would people? It's strange to me. I think, but I see it so much in cannabis, and I see how volatile it's gotten, and just over the years, really over a decade now, of just how far people have gone, lawsuits and just all kinds of shit. And I think it's crazy. It's crazy that it's over weed and just image and entitlement and ego and just all this shit. It's like, nah, dude. If you like me, you like me. If you don't fucking like me, I probably don't like you either. That's not even true. A lot of us have a strange sense of humor. Mr. Leo, you definitely get my sense of humor. It's true. It's true. Yes. The universe is hostile, so impersonal. Devour to survive. Gosh, I'm so bad at this lately. So it is. So it has always been. Thank you. Pull your head out of your hippie haze and give a listen. Shouldn't have to say it all again. I love all our chit chat. Hey, so it's Monday now. Yeah, Big Farm. I don't know what I know you guys probably hate this. I want your honest feedback, as I would like to switch it to Monday. I think it would make the show probably better. But you guys just have to tell me if Monday would work for your schedules, because you're my squad. All right. Well, I'm sorry for my rants tonight, and I apologize for not having a better prepared show. But I promise that I'll lay you down the next show. I'll post it on my story. And once again, I really appreciate you guys listening, and your comments, and your love, and your support. Please put what you would be interested in learning. I started making all these slideshows and PowerPoints, but I was like, what do we really want to talk about? You tell me. All right. I hope you guys have a beautiful week. I love you all. All right. Peace and love again. No. Nope. 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 That's hilarious. Sorry, guys. We're not going anywhere.